Hello, welcome to week 2 of Meals
Sorry,
with
I
Jesus.
was already.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Hello, welcome to week 2 of Meals with Jesus. I'm Ties.
I'm Tanya.
I'm Calvin.
Yeah, and today we're talking about Zacchaeus.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, nice name. And he was a wee little man who climbed the sycamore tree to see Jesus.
And to get some exercise.
Jesus saw him actually, and he wanted to
He said,
eat.
I must go to your house
Yes,
today. Yeah.
I must go to your house, he said, to dine with you. Wow, that is actually quite amazing. And a lot of good things happened after that, because Zacchaeus wasn't the best kind of person. He was
Why isn't he the best kind of person?
Well, he was a tax collector and the head of the tax collectors. And in those days, so he collected taxes for the Romans because they were the rulers at the time.
Okay.
But he would also he would get extra money from his fellow Jews and put those in his own pocket.
So he is a Jew collecting money from Jews.
Yes, collecting money from
robbing
Jews.
your own brothers and sisters.
So, needless to say, he wasn't very well loved amongst his people. He probably didn't have many friends to dine with, if any. Yeah.
This kind of people misuse their brain and talent. But quite rich, get away with it, so.
Yeah, rich he was, but what to do with all his riches and he probably had a beautiful home and he had servants and everything.
That's interesting. I wonder what caused him to climb that tree to see Jesus.
Yeah, me too.
Like if he feels like he has everything already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
look at it, I guess, through the passage.
I think he wasn't very fulfilled despite of his beautiful house and his servants and his great food. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he was looking for something that he didn't have, but he saw, hey, Jesus, that was something that he really wanted to get to know.
He probably heard rumors.
Okay.
And he probably really wanted to see for himself.
Okay. All right.
And then that man, Jesus, actually stopped at his tree and say, hey.
Calls him out.
Yeah.
Hey, come down.
Hey, Zacchaeus, come down.
Hey.
Yeah, let's go makan.
Yeah, let's go
I'm
makan.
coming to your house today.
Wow. Yeah. And he was excited. I think he actually wanted him to come.
Yeah. And that really was amazing because he did a 180. He just turned completely around, and he said, "Okay, I will give all, pay back all that I stole from the people, and
so
and
everything is
fourfold.
back.
Yes, and then I will give money to the poor." And he was completely,
interesting.
And I don't think Jesus actually said anything to him. Do you think so?
Okay.
Not that it's recorded by the
Yes.
Doesn't say that.
No, indeed. We don't know exactly what was going on during that meal.
But enough for us to, I guess, understand why.
Yeah.
What do you think is the reason?
I think Jesus being there and just accepting him because he wasn't loved by his people. He was, I think, a very lonely man, and Jesus came to dine with him. I think just Jesus' presence made him changed him.
Wow.
What do you think?
That's real change.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just imagining I'm on that tree and suddenly I guess Jesus calls out my name. I feel like I'm being seen.
Yeah.
Like among all these people, he calls me.
Yeah.
I think that, I guess, speaks to me a lot.
Yeah.
It
I think it really
matter.
shows
Yeah,
how
exactly.
powerful just being noticed by someone whom you admire, how much more God. And actually knowing that God sees you and loves you, that can really change your whole life.
Completely. Actually, that was my own conversion as well. That someone had a word from God. It was in an open air church service.
Wow.
And it was spot on me. And I was really going like, God sees me and He wants me. That was I was the little Zacchaeus at that moment. I was going like, God, I'm here, Yeah. That is, I mean, God says that to everyone, but if that moment is there, that Jesus actually says to you like, hey, I want to makan with you. That is amazing.
Yeah, that's a real relationship actually.
He's near to people, he draws himself close, he takes the initiative.
And you just have to open up and accept.
That's cool. That's
That
really,
is
really
very
good.
cool.
Yeah, I think because it happened to you, and it's the story of every Christian that they encounter God and they were surprised that God actually knows who they are.
And just loves you the way you are. He loved Zacchaeus no matter what he did.
Yeah, it is.
So why don't you guys go read the passage for yourself now? Luke 19, verse 1 through 10, and then get back to us.
Yep.
And we'll discuss a little bit more. Okay.
See you guys.
See you guys. Right. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a good time reading. And let's talk a little bit more about Zacchaeus and Jesus.
Okay.
So do you recognize that feeling that Zacchaeus had, that he really, that deep longing to see Jesus, because he was willing? It was maybe even a bit humiliating to climb that tree. Maybe people were laughing at him, because a grown man, even though he was small, climbing a tree is maybe not the most sophisticated thing to do. But he had such a longing. So do you recognize that feeling, and what do you do with it? If you really, really, because God says, like, if you really, really search for me, you will find me, right? And I think Zacchaeus really wanted to see Jesus, wanted to meet him. And he did.
Yeah, that embarrassment is real. I think we all are concerned with what our friends think, and especially when it comes to something like being a Christian or saying that you know God, right? Sometimes it can be very scary what people think about your own faith.
Yeah.
So all the more if you're just coming to make that step for the first time. So I really admire it when people do things like get baptized or even just come for an Alpha course. It's a big step. And I think the encouraging thing is that God sees it. I think God sees what a big step it is. And actually, you will find that God takes an even bigger step towards you.
Yeah. I'm thinking of like in church services, like at the ministry time. That's like a test of like, do I care about what people think about me? I think when responding to maybe something that God put in your heart, and I'm always encouraged by people actually stepping out from their seats to come forward for prayer, because I feel like it is a place of vulnerability.
It is.
And it's very obvious that you are out and receiving a prayer. And sometimes I think it can be seen, maybe not humiliating, but maybe seen as like, oh, this person come out for prayer must be something
wrong.
But I think it's really brave of people when they do that. And it's because they truly want to hear from God. They want to receive. And I think we should do more of that. It's our response towards God rather than, thinking of like what society thinks. When Calvin mentioned about like sharing faith with non-Christians. I think we care a lot of what people think.
And sometimes out of politeness, people say, hey, what can I pray for you? And I say, hey, it's okay lah, nothing lah. But actually, all of us have something that we need prayer for.
So I guess in a way, Zacchaeus was really vulnerable in putting him up.
Exactly.
And that's good. And we all need to be able to be in that position that we, like you said, going for prayer and stepping out in faith, and or just saying, hey, I need you to pray for me, or I just absolutely. And then also because we know by now Zacchaeus was a bit of an outcast, even though he was a rich outcast. So there are definitely people in our society, and probably in our direct environment, that are not like us. And I don't mean like they're in any way. What do we do with those people? It's so easy to hang out with people that are similar to us and that we understand. But there's so many people that are different in whatever sense. Like, how do we treat those? How do we Like Jesus went to his house and had a meal with him, even though everybody was going. Because it says even in this story that, the people are going, oh, how can he do that? Yeah. So what do we do with those people?
That's true. I think the temptation is to walk by, to turn our eyes, our gaze away from people who, sometimes we just want to ignore. And the truth is we do that with God. All our lives before we came to know God, that's what we did. But actually coming to know God, God opens our eyes to see all the people around us as well, and to see it with his eyes. Yeah. So I think that even just the first step is just to notice. It's not even to say go to the most, poor place, but actually just to see around you, who are the people around you that God has placed in your lives. And if you can even just see that and to ask God to help me to just see them and to notice them, I think that's already a very big step.
Yeah, I like what you say about actually start from who is around you, because I think if you ask me that question, I would say I'm not doing very well in actually being aware or being, I guess, taking a step out to reach out to someone who is very different. But I guess it's maybe the practical part, what's doable then is actually start from who's around me. So it could be even inside church as well, if you notice someone who is sitting by themselves, or even your connect group as well, someone hasn't been coming, that's maybe a step that we can take in reaching out and inviting that person to come. And to know the person as well. So I feel it's not necessary. I think if God calls you out there, feel free to do so. I know of people who has a heart for their neighborhood, so they would do something for that. So I guess everyone has different things that actually they can do, but I guess it means start from easy things is to start from who's around you.
And it's already, that's not easy. Sometimes just waving and saying hello to someone, the person might just walk by. But every look and every wave, it shows
you're accepting them, how you actually want to welcome them as well.
Exactly, Law. And it may be that they might ignore you, but if they do respond, then that you've already given them that opportunity to respond. So I think again, I just think it's not easy, but starting that small step can actually have a big, profound difference. Sometimes that might be the only hello someone might get in church as well. And it can actually make a big difference just by smiling to the people around you.
Yeah, very good. So also, because of the acceptance of Jesus and coming to his house, Zacchaeus repented and converted, he said. And it wasn't just the repentance, it was faith and action, because he said, I'll give fourfold, I'll give back to the people that are stole, and I'll give to the poor. And that faith, I love that faith and action. He was just saying, okay, I'm so sorry. And that's it. He immediately.
That's a real life change.
Yeah. So how could we do that? Or how he's actually such an example to us, Zacchaeus, in how he responds to Jesus.
We need to first encounter Jesus.
Exactly.
Without no one can change us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think you sense in him, it didn't feel difficult for him, right? Even though to us you see, 4 times give away all his wealth. Actually, we can imagine even giving away what we have, right, is so difficult. But for him, I think that easiness comes from, like you say, he encountered Jesus. And really, that's where to start now. You realize that knowing Jesus, it changes you such that even some things that you thought were impossible, God makes possible. Yeah, it's a fruit. It's not something that you do to earn God's love, but God's love produces, amazingly, some of these changes that can seem impossible, but actually, he does it for real.
I echo what you say. I think it's the more, even the Bible says, right, I think we are transformed from glory to glory, and glory is encountering God himself in his presence. And why perhaps maybe we don't have that radical encounter, or perhaps we have such radical encounter, But I think it's true that daily just being with Jesus, why we always say, read your Bible, pray, worship.
Absolutely.
Actually, it makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
Maybe we sometimes just don't realize it. But I think the more we do encounter God, the more we know His heart is for us. And obviously, we want to love Him back as well, because we receive so much from Him. And I think like Zacchaeus shows us like really like God, like you say, God changed his whole life, and he just wants to like worship Him back through giving what he has.
Worship. I like how you described it. Zacchaeus did this thing as an act of worship. It was for God.
It's from that place of love and adoration towards God.
And I think once you experience God's love, like personally, it makes you want to take action and reach out and
I also think like actually like how he, I guess, show his love back towards God is it's not just true that heart to heart with God, but actually it's true really practical things
that's
with
true.
his with the things that he realized he has done wrong, right? Like collecting robbing money from his brothers and sisters. Like he makes amendments practically as well. I think that's something maybe we don't really do much sometimes, because we think like, it's me and God, enough already.
That's true. That's true. They are
but
practical.
It's being shown towards I guess like the cross like not just horizontal but vertically with people around you, and I admire him doing that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so we can say, or what we see in this story is first of all the hunger that Zacchaeus has for Jesus, and then Jesus' acceptance of everyone and not caring what people say or think, and then Zacchaeus being so touched by Jesus' love and attention that he repents and puts his faith into action. And I think those things that we can take home and put into action ourselves. So this week, let's look out for those around us that are maybe, I don't know, lonely or different than us, or maybe we can smile a little extra at people or wave, or just, have lunch with someone who is, doesn't have anyone to have lunch with. Just open your eyes and see what you can do for those around you, those who are maybe not your common friends and people also. Yeah, I think that's a good one to take home with for this week. All right. We'll see you next week for week 3.
Yes, see you guys.
See you. Bye.
Bye.